Mr. Mayor, I appreciate the good setup. Mr. Mayor, members of council, know we're here tonight to talk about single member districts and wards. What we're really talking about is race, and how do we use a segregated system to try to ensure that we have a certain number of people of color on the school board. And I just think that the color of the people of the school board shouldn't matter, that we should please stop and remember that we're talking about children. The map that you have before you is a map of the on-time graduation rate. It's basically students that have not graduated on time. It's broken out by wards. I can send you copies of that. But I'm kind of frustrated that we're spending time talking about the color of school board members and not talking about the issue that's before you. I had the opportunity to sit through your earlier work session. There was a presentation on United for Children. They were dealing with P.B. Young and Tidewater and Jay Cox and Booker T and Ruffner, all schools that were resegregated. And now we're uniting for children around them. The data will show you that, as Mr. Askew, my neighbor, mentioned earlier, when you get to attend a school like Ghent, that low-income children who are in middle-class schools perform far better than all the efforts we try to do to wrap around to make separate but equal work. Had the pleasure of hearing Mr. Riddick play a speech by the great Samuel DeWitt Proctor, who was a great man. He was also a racial integrationist. He had the opportunity to appear before President Eisenhower following the passing of Brown versus Board of Education. And President Eisenhower wanted Dr. Proctor and others to go slow. Dr. Proctor refused. We've talked about poverty and all the conversations around poverty and the solutions for poverty in our schools. Not once did anyone mention that the solution was the racial quota system that we would have on the school board. 1984 was when we moved to the ward system. It is now 2015. And if I understand the conversation that's taking place about possibly having elected school by wards, that would suggest to me that after 30 years, we're still having conversations where we feel that as a city, we cannot come together and by our at-large vote, select people that we think are qualified. Ms. Johnson, Ms. Williams, and others, I would hope that 30 years from now, if you all are still on council, that that we won't have that, or Ms. Johnson, if my daughter Bria and your niece is on council, that we wouldn't find that 30 years from now, we're still talking about this same issue that we dealt with 30 years ago. At some point, we have to spend more time bringing the city together versus continuing to divide. In 2000, Mr. Nguyen, I remember you ran on changing the middle school boundaries. And I remember there was a meeting that took place with school board chairman, Mrs. Poston, to deal with that. Some of the issues that we're dealing with today with middle schools and Booker T. Washington accreditation are a result of the fact that we couldn't find ways of working together, and I hope we would do that. Lastly, in closing, because I heard the bell ring, I would just say that it's true that at large we had 2 out of 7, 2 African-American members on council out of 7. We went to 3 out of 7. Now we have 3 out of 8. Not sure what the big deal is with that, but I just think that, as others have said, we can move forward and show that as a city, we are prepared at large to work together and just elect people that will serve all of our children. Thank you.